Hi everyone, it's Mrs. Sloan. I miss you guys so much. I am excited for us to go on an adventure and look at Van Gogh's Starry, Starry Night. So I sent you all a little outline that showed you different things about Vincent van Gogh's life, like how he wasn't famous until after he died, and his sister-in-law found his paintings and brought them to Paris to sell, and they sold for millions of dollars. He died at 37, and now his paintings are worth so much, but he never ever sold a painting when he was alive. So his art has inspired so many because of the style of art he has done. For example, I mentioned that he does broken brushwork, broken brush strokes. So that means they're little lines that aren't connected. So when we're painting, instead of painting a big continuous line, we're actually going to paint little brush strokes. And we're going to mix the colors together to create an art piece. So the art piece that I've chosen today is Starry, Starry Night. So I'm just going to show you. That is one of the ones that I have you coloring as well. So there's Starry, Starry Night. So the color choices we have on our palette, so hopefully you have some paint at home. If not, you can do this with markers or pencil crayon. So we have dark blue, light blue, yellow, white, and green for the trees. Okay, so let's go through and paint our Starry, Starry Night. Let's go. All right, so the first thing that I want to paint is I want to paint the swirls in the background and the moon. So I'm going to paint the moon on there. So I'm going to show you the moon close up. Oh, maybe not. Trying to show you the moon, and it's not helping me. There we go. So there's the moon. So it's backwards on my picture. But right here is what we're going to draw, that moon right there. And it's the letter C, like my first name, Christine. So the moon is actually not broken brush strokes. It is a full moon. So I'm going to put it on the top corner here, and I'm going to paint the letter C. Okay, the letter C. So there is my moon. So you can see it here. It'll be backwards on the screen. The letter C. I'm going to paint it nice and bright yellow. And I'm also going to paint some stars. So I'm going to draw some dots on my canvas. Now, if you have somebody at home helping you, you can put this video on pause to catch up. Okay, so I'm going to put some yellow stars all over my page. Put one more. So there's my yellow. I don't need any more. So you can be doing this on a canvas or paper, your sketchbook, whatever. I'm going to paint on a canvas, but that's all right. Now I want to start drawing the yellow and white around each shape. So I'm going to mix on my little palette some white and some yellow. So it's going to be a very light yellow. And I'm going to start doing the broken brush strokes on each one. So I'm bringing this closer so you can see. And all around, I'm going to start painting broken brush strokes. So you can see that I'm not painting all one line. I'm just painting little brush strokes and lifting my paint, my brush up. Okay, all around. And then I'm going to mix a little more yellow into my white, and I'm going to do some more. So you can see that I'm mixing it, but I'm not worried about running into the other colors. We want that. We want you to run into the other colors with your broken brush strokes. Okay, can you see that? And I'm going to do the same thing around all of my stars, mixing white and yellow together. Okay, so I'm going to do around here, little brush strokes around my yellow. And you can use whatever size of paintbrush you want. Okay, you may have to add some more color to your palette, some more white and yellow together. Okay, you can go a lighter shade of yellow, you can go almost white as you go around them. Okay, and just keep going. I might add some white, and it can be nice and thick. If you have acrylic paint, you can do nice and thick. If you have watercolor paint, you can draw it nice and thick, so less water, more watercolor, more paint. Okay, all the way around. Now, when you're doing it, I want you to take your time, and I really want you to concentrate on adding broken brush strokes. It's not one fluid line, it's a whole bunch of little lines together that go around each thing. Okay, so right now we're doing the stars and the moon. So now I'm going to add a little bit of white around the moon with my broken brush strokes. And I'll show you what it looks like very soon. Get right in there with my broken brush strokes. Oh, I missed this guy. Don't forget this guy. There. So I'm going to bring that a little closer so you can see. Okay, the light's not the best in here, but you can see that I've done yellow, white and yellow, and a little bit of white. So I can go back later and add more color to that, more yellow. But right now what I want to do is I want to work on my background. Now that I have the stars and the moon in place, now I can work on my background, and I'll show you again what that background looks like. Okay, so it is on the assignment I gave you. So now we're going to work on the background blue, and then eventually we're going to do those swirls too. All right, so now we're going to play with light blue and dark blue. How do we make light blue? Hopefully you remember, we take our blue and we add a little bit of white to it. So we're going to mix between those colors. So we've got our blue. I'll show you on the camera. Blue. And now I'm going to start putting little lines, okay, broken brush strokes all around. So see how I'm doing these little brush strokes all around, kind of following around my stars, following around my stars, and just keep going. We're going to add more color in here later, but right now we're just adding some blue around my stars and around my moon and in between. We're going to lighten that blue up. But you see how they're not a full line. It's just broken up brush strokes. And this was made famous by Van Gogh. He wanted to create something unique during that time period, and the time period is called Impressionism. And what he would do is he would use full bottles of paint, and he would create all of these broken lines with the end of the paint bottle. You would squirt paint all over the place. Okay, so we're going to do our top. Okay, so again, if you're following along and you want to pause the video, you can do that, all right? So I'm going around, taking my time, and you can do this in marker, and in pencil crayon. I'm following my stars. I'm going to go down here now and do around these guys. Don't want to forget them. All the way around. Okay, all the way down. And fill all of this up. I'm not going to fill the bottom out yet, all right, but I am going to fill the top of my canvas all around my stars. We'll go back and we'll add the wind, because the wind is actually going to be light blue and white. And we'll add the wind in after we're done filling out the whole entire sky. Okay, so I'm going to let you finish that, and I'll show you what mine looks like when I'm done. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. I have filled in my whole entire background with my broken brush strokes, not worrying about the bottom because that's where I'm going to put my trees. But what I am going to do now is I'm going to mix a little bit of white and blue together to create a lighter blue. So I take my blue and I take my white. I'm going to show you on my palette. My palette's a little messy. Right here, my blue and white, and I mix that together. Blue and white mixed together, and it makes a lighter blue. If you have a lighter blue already, then that's perfect. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm now going to go and fill in the white spots with another blue. So I might start filling in the white spots. Now if you run into the darker blue, that's okay, but try not to. We're going to add more light color in there, but right now I'm just filling in with one light blue. We'll go back with a second one in a few minutes. So anywhere you see white, try and go in between. Okay, so take your time. And once you have filled in a lot of the white spots with a light blue, we're going to go back with a even lighter blue, sorry. We're going to go back with an even lighter blue, and we are going to make it even lighter, and that's where we're going to add the swirls. Okay, so I'm going to let you go and fill in your light blue. Okay, I'll be back when my section is finished. Okay, I'm back. I have finished my background with the lighter blue, and now I'm going to use white and to make an even lighter blue. I don't want pure white, but I do want a lighter blue. So I'm taking a little bit of blue this time, but a whole bunch of white, and I'll show you how much I've used. Okay, so this time I'm using a whole bunch of white and just a little bit of blue, mixing that together. And now this is what I'm going to use to create my wind and create a little bit more of an outline of my moon and my stars. So now my brush strokes are going to still be broken, but I'm going to show you in the camera here. Now I want to create this swirl effect. Okay, so I'm going to use my brush, same thing I've been doing, but this time I'm going to paint to create this swirl. And I'm going to show you how I'm going to do that. So I'm going to start on my left-hand side of my canvas. Okay, for the camera, it's on the right. And I'm going to start going around. You might have to dip quite a bit. going around to create a swirl. So I dip down, I'm coming back up, and I'm going to create my swirl. And the more paint that you put on, and the mix of the white, okay, I'm gonna add some white too in there, and I'm gonna mix those together to create that swirl. So I'm going in between my blue and my light blue that I just made and the white, and I'm just going to do little broken brush strokes, and they run in together, they blend to create a nice swirl. Okay, you want them to run right into each other because they blend right on your page. So see now how I have a swirl happening, and your swirl can go in any direction that you want. It can go up and down, it can go side to side, and you can see that I'm blending those colors from my background. They're finally blending together. Okay, and that creates that really unique look of the broken brush strokes. Okay, so there's my one swirl. I'm happy with that, and I'm going to draw another swirl right over here. So I'm using my light blue and my white, and I'm drawing a swirl that swirls up now. Okay, and I'm going to bring this closer so you can see. So see how now it's going up in a fun direction, up the opposite way as before. And I'm going in between my blue, my light blue that I made, and my white. And lots of little brush strokes, broken brush strokes. Remember that word, broken brush strokes. And a fun little swirl. Okay, and then if you want to do one more across the side, you can. This way I'm going to come down and swoop across. It's not going to have a curl, but it's just going to be a little swoosh to show the wind. Okay, I'm mixing those colors right on my canvas. Okay. And then you can see I'm happy with that, little swirls. So now with my light blue, I'm now going to find all the white spots on the canvas. So if you look close, there's quite a few white spots on that canvas. So I'm going to find them. I'm going to take my time, and I'm just going to fill those in. Okay, so I'm going to let you fill your little white spots in with the light blue, right up to your moon and your stars, right up to the swirls. So see now that I'm filling in those white spots, it's creating a really cool background of broken brush strokes. So now what I need you to do is just to sit and fill in all those white spots with your really light blue. Okay? I'll be back in a sec. Alrighty, I'm back. So I finished my light blue, filled in all of the white spots, and I even went back and I actually added a little more dark blue in a few spots so that the white and light blue would pop out. Okay, so if you can take a few moments to add some blue, dark blue in between, just to add a little more variety, then that would be great. Once you're done, you can clean your brush off really well. Cleaned it with soap and water, or just water, not soap. I'll do that at the very end. Okay, so now what I'm going to do before I add my trees in there, I want to use my white and go back around my stars and my moon to really have them blend in. So I'm going to show you that picture again. If you have it in front of you, that's perfect. And I just want to show you that in a few spots, okay, right in here, there's a little more of the white and yellow that comes around. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm using my white and I'm going to mix some yellow in there. Now we don't want to mix too much on the canvas because if we add yellow and blue together, what color does that give us? Yellow and blue makes green. I think I heard green. All right, so I'm going to choose, say, this guy right here. So I'm going to use some more yellow and white, and I'm going to do some broken brush strokes around him again. And I'm going to go on top of that blue a little bit. So see how it mixes it in just a little bit, not too much. And then you can use some really bright yellow and you could do another yellow star in there to make it pop out. All right, so another yellow star, mixing my white and yellow together, creating that around. Now again, it's going to turn a little bit of green, so just be careful not to do too much. Okay, and if you need to, wash your brush every time so that you don't have too much white and yellow and blue. Okay, so I'm going all the way around my stars, trying not to mix too much of the green in there. So I'm happy with that one. Now I'm going to go this guy. Okay. You can hear my dog in the background not listening. Do you guys have a little puppy or a cat that doesn't listen at home? Sometimes they don't. Okay. Couple more down here, and again, take your time, and if you find, like I'm finding, there's a little more blue coming off, I'm going to wash my brush and then dip it again. Okay, and my last star here. Color in there, and I'm going to brighten my stars with more yellow just in the centers, and you can do it nice and thick if you want. Okay, finish that up. And now I'm going to add more yellow to my moon. Nice and thick yellow to my moon. And I'm going to add more of that white and yellow all around it. Okay. And again, if you need to pause the video to be able to go back and do some, then feel free to do that. Okay. All right. So I'm going to bring this a little closer so you can see. So now we have some yellow, we've got some white and yellow. And again, we have those broken brush strokes. Okay, nice broken brush strokes. So I'm going to let you finish that, and then we're going to talk about the trees. I'll be right back. All right, I'm back. So now what we're going to do is we're going to play with the trees. The trees are one of my favorite things because the trees look like they're moving in the wind, so you can see them really close. They look like they're moving in the wind. We're going to change things up a little bit because we're not going to draw the city. We don't want to draw that. We're just going to draw trees and some rolling mountains, okay? So that's why I had you have a green, because we're going to do the trees in some green with a little bit of white as well. And then the mountains are also going to be green with a little bit of white, okay? So how we're going to do the trees is we're going to have them dancing. So our lines, they're still going to be broken brush strokes, but this time our lines are going to go up and down, not side to side like our other ones. So I'm going to choose this as the top of my tree, and I'm going to draw a broken line like this. Draw one line curved, another one curved, another one, and I'm skipping a little spot every time. Okay, so that's the start of my tree. Now I want to make my tree thicker, so I'm going to dip back into the green, and I'm going to now draw these little lines that are curving. They're broken, they're going up and down, broken brush strokes. And I'm just going to make this tree nice and full. Okay, nice and full. So there's one, but we can see some white in there. So that's where I'm going to mix a little bit of green and a tiny bit of white, mix it together to make a lighter green that I'm going to put in between, maybe a little more white, in between those dark green spots. Okay, so I added white and green together, and I'm just going to fill in all of the white spots. Okay, fill in all those white spots with the lighter green. So we're making almost like a Christmas tree. But our lines are dancing like a dancing tree. And I might go back to the dark green and fill in some other spots with more dark green. So you kind of go in between light and dark. Light and dark. Okay, filling all that white space in. We don't want to see any white. We'll be able to fill in some spaces with blue if we see some sky, but we don't want to see any white here. All right, so there is my first tree. There's my first tree. Now I want to do a few more. So I'm going to do maybe 2 more. A small one in this side and a small one on this side. And then we can fill in any spots that are still sky. And this side over here, we're going to fill with mountains. So let's fill in our 2 other trees. So starting with my darker green, and I have my trees dancing. I'm going into the blue just a little bit. My blue is wet though, so I don't want to go too far into the blue. So I have my big dark brush strokes. Now I'm going to go to my light colored and fill in those white spots. Okay. Fill in those white spots. I might add a little more dark spots in there. There's my second tree. And like I said, I'll fill in these little white spots with blue later on. I want one more tree. So I'm going to start with my dark, with my broken brush strokes. I'm going to make a really chunky tree, a really fat tree, with my broken brush strokes of dark green, and then go to my light green and fill all the spots with my light green. Remember, light green is adding white and green together. Fill in all the spots that are white, as many as you can. And if you need to go back and add some darker green, you can go back and do that. Okay, so there are my 3 trees. I'm going to let you finish. Okay, let's finish some mountains. So we talked about mountains going over here. We'll fill these in with blue later on, but let's get some mountains going this way. So we're going to first use our dark green, and we're going to draw a little line that goes from my tree all the way to the other side, and that's where we're going to have little brush strokes in a line that creates a mountain. So let's do this. Little brush strokes in a line going across to the other side. I'm going up the mountain Okay, so you can see there are little brush strokes going up in a line, and then I'm going to fill that whole entire bottom with these brush strokes. So we're going different direction than we did our trees. We're going the same direction as our sky. So little brush strokes, broken brush strokes of our dark green right now, and we're creating mountains. You can go all the way up to the blue if you want. Okay, so go ahead and fill that whole entire thing with green, dark green brush strokes, broken brush strokes. We'll be adding in the light green in a few minutes. So I will let you finish this whole space. Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I finished filling in my dark green broken brush strokes, and now I'm going to fill the rest with my light green broken brush strokes. So I had to mix some more light green, so I used my regular green and I added white for my light green. And now I'm going to fill in each spot, each white spot, with my light green. Okay, so wherever you can see white, just add a brush stroke of light green in there. Okay, you're trying to hide the white. We don't want to see that white. We just want to see our green, our light green, and our dark green. Alrighty, so I'm going to let you continue filling in all of the little white spots with a light green. And if you run into the dark green, that's perfect. They'll mix together and create an even different green. All right, so I'll let you go ahead and do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So I filled in my whole bottom with light green and dark green. I even went back and added a few more spots of dark green in some spots that I could see the white. So now the only thing I have left to do is fill in that empty space with sky color, okay? Because I didn't fill it all with trees. So now I want to go back with my dark blue and my light blue and just fill in the sky. So I can now do broken brush strokes in blue right down near my trees. Be careful not to hit the trees too much, because you don't want to mix blue into your green. So anywhere you can see white, you can now add the sky. Broken brush strokes of the sky. So I'm starting with my blue, my dark blue, and then I'm going to switch over to my white and blue, my lighter, to create that light blue of my sky. Filling in anywhere where I see white, right down to my trees. Just be careful of the trees. You don't want to add any blue to the trees, so just take your time. And now over here, adding a little bit of light blue into those spots where I can see the canvas or the paper, the white. Right along my mountains. There, and I'm happy with that. I've got a few spots, so you can take a look and make sure that you've covered up all of your white spots. And in the end, you have a masterpiece that's inspired by Vincent van Gogh, who is our artist for this week. All right, I can't wait to see you all, and I can't wait to see your finished product. So if you can have somebody take a picture and send it to Mrs. Sloan, that would be amazing. Anyway, we'll talk soon. See you later.